How can we climb the looming mountain of AI we face in the future? How can we climb towards ethical and effective use of AI in education? And zoom out and get a full view of the atrium with the swirling words and phrases that are moving around you. These are opposing concepts. We live in a tension of opposites. The world is built on opposites. Fire and ice, sadness and joy, where everything is built in our world upon the tension of opposites. My research led me to meta-modernism, where we can oscillate between virtual, digital life on our phones and devices in virtual worlds, and our physical life, the beautiful physical world. We're in that era, meta-modernism, and oscillation is a key element of meta-modernism. As I said, last week we visited spring, meta-modernism, which is our current philosophical era. Summer, meta-literacy, a new look at literacy beyond just reading books in print. And we went to fall, where we learned about digital citizenship. I'm just going to cam out so I can see spring, and I can see summer, I can see fall. And now, if you'll follow me today, we are going to head into winter. So follow me towards the snowy mountain out this way. You can walk in if you like. There's a sign in there you can click on for some machinima videos. We'll be adding more of those presentations inside the snowy cave. Once you've looked around the snowy cave, walk back outside because we're heading to AI Mountain. But don't go up there yet. You've got to learn how to climb first. We're going to start by going over this little bridge. As we go over the bridge, you will see a large looming mountain. AIM, AI Mountain. We're not going up to the mountain yet. We'll take a slight right, and we're going to base camp. So follow me to base camp. You may want to put a jacket on, even though it's a simulation, you may be feeling cold. Come on in. Wander around these tents. Feel free to go inside one. And I'll pull my camera back so I can see that you're all following me. Great, some are even flying in. I'm going to sit right up here on my sign so you can see my AIM Base Camp sign. Now, if you click on this sign that I'm sitting on, it's in front of you. It's called AIM Base Camp, climbing towards ethical and effective AI in education. But really, life, aiming to use AI in our lives because it's exploding all around us. It's been around us for years and years. The algorithms that have been mining our data, our shopping habits, our GPS, everything's based on AI in our global life. Yet, now we use it, generative AI. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And you'll get a note card explaining this. How can we climb the looming mountain of AI that we face in the future? How can we climb towards ethical and effective use of AI in education? You can climb AI Mountain, a metaphor for this, by completing 5 training levels. And you will reach the top. And I call them the 5 P's: preparation, personal responsibility, purpose, planning, and protection. You can come back here another day and dig into each one of those 5 P's for more information. We're just going to get a glimpse of them today, and we're going to climb. Level 1 is preparation. One must understand the basics of AI. What it is, what actually is AI? Where did it come from? And where is it heading? Definitions, that's the foundation. And then we'll go to level 2, personal responsibility. Nobody can decide how to use AI for you. It's your responsibility. It's up to you how to use it. And I'm talking even for kindergartners. Level 3 is going to be the purpose. Having a clear purpose for the use of AI is essential for everyone, or you're going to drown in it. Level 4 is planning. Through the domains of meta-literacy that we learned last week, your metacognition, your cognition, your affective, and that's the emotional intelligence, how you feel, and your behavior. Through those 4 domains, we can master our goals, and we can plan for emerging AI and the impact it will have on our lives. That's level 4, planning. And finally, level 5, protection. We need some protection so that we can understand the difference between human and machine intelligence. Learn how to protect ourselves as humans and our own intelligence in order to balance human intelligence with machine learning. We have to learn how to protect ourselves both individually, as a community, even our nations, and certainly the next generation, and our Earth. Our Earth, the impact of how much energy AI is sucking and how much water it's using. We need to protect the planet. Well, when you think about all these 5 levels, you'll be able to reach the top of AI Mountain and get your flag to illustrate that you have conquered a dangerous climb. So I hope you're getting fit. If one of you want to, I'll show you what this is. If you go over here, you can click on these little balls. You got to warm up to, get ready to mountain climb. So you could just come over here, get one of these balls. Let's just get ready. You got to get fit. If somebody wants to try it, go ahead and get on one and start warming up. Get your exercises in. Deep breathe. When you're mountain climbing, it's going to get thin air up there. You're going to have to learn how to breathe. I got a good shot of your instructor Magua warming up here, exercising, getting fit at base camp. Now I could do a whole lesson just at this area, but we're going to do the whole thing today, so you can come back and dig deeper into each one of the 5 Ps. I'm going to ask you to stand if you're exercising, you'll need to stand to get off, and follow me. We're going to go to the far side of the mountain where we can go to the alpine climbing point beginning. Or if you want, you can just teleport over there and meet me there. But otherwise, you can follow me. Here's the slurl if you prefer to just jump ahead. I see some people jumping on over. That's great. Or you can follow me, and we'll all gather here by the fireside pit. Okay. We've just left the tent area where we sort of warm up. I'm going to sit on this sign, which is called Level 1 Base Camp Preparation. That's level 1. I told you, we got to prepare first. So everybody gather around. See the sign, protection? You can click on it to get a note card, and there's also some supplies in here for you. You'll get these supplies, but you don't really have to use them today. It's all a metaphor to help us think about AI. Inside the note card, you will get supplies that you need for mountain climbing. You might get some technical footwear, some sturdy, rigid boots with good soles. You'll get some crampons. You may need, the right gear when you're going to mountain climb. You might need an axe to, chop through that ice up there. You'll get a helmet that protects you from falling, the falling debris. We have to think about our safety with AI. We could have a whole talk at this level. What do we need to keep safe? What is this metaphor all about? layered clothing. You might need a waterproof, windproof, hard shell jacket. All kinds of things for your protection in the freezing alpine temperatures. You might need some other tools for GPS and identification of the routes, a headlamp, all kinds of things. So consider this metaphor. To climb AI Mountain, you must prepare yourself. The tools we need are critical thinking, meta literacy, the 5 Ps that I've been talking about. So once again, we're all going to take a deep breath so we can conquer the levels of critical thinking as we climb. Now, it might get really cramped, and there's a lot of us. So feel free to move about. Don't worry about bumping into each other. If you fall off, it's okay. I don't care if you fly back up, because it is a metaphor. Although, in the physical world, if you fly, there are consequences. And that's true in the virtual world of AI as well. So stay close to me. We're going to walk over to the alpine climb. This way. Sorry if I bump you. You'll see the sign for the alpine climb, and you can walk right past me. Stay close to the water and just sort of gather by the next sign when you get there. And we'll meet at sign 2, personal responsibility. Okay, so walk on through. You're going to get another note card. I like to stay close to the water, and it's going to be crowded and cramped, but that's okay. You can pass by me, and when you're ready, someone can click on that red ball. When you sit on that red ball, you're going to climb. I'll let one person who's brave go ahead and start. And you can stand close by the side of the mountain. Oh, look. Casa Murat is climbing bravely. And please stand all around the next level. Just stay there and wait for me, because I'm going to tell you about preparation first. Right now we're at personal responsibility. So click on that sign, personal responsibility. I'm going to accept it, and the note card comes right up here on my screen. AI is your personal responsibility. The bottom line is AI is here. You have to deal with it, and only you can do that. Ethical use is complicated. It's wordy. This note card is even complicated. But I could have a class here and go through it slowly to understand how it's our personal responsibility. You're responsible for any AI-generated content that you use ethically. You're responsible for the data privacy and the security. So you have to understand the limitations and educate yourself to be a critical evaluator of AI content and human content and the policies surrounding that. And taking that personal responsibility means moving from blind trust to informed use of AI. And I got a couple shots of people climbing. Feel free to climb if you didn't get a turn and you want to sit on the red ball. And then please gather around the next level. I see where Huslive is already there. Level 3 is purpose. And I'm going to just cam in on it on purpose. And I'm going to let somebody else climb up if you want to try it. You simply right-click on the red ball and choose sit here, and you can climb. Okay, there goes Burke Boomin. I'll get a shot of Burke because I am filming a bit. And I'm going to fly up just so I can meet you there. Okay, I'm flying up over here, up, up, up. And please try to gather around me. I'm going to sit on the sign. That way you can all find me. Purpose is level 3. I'll sit on the sign. You can hover. You can stand. There's a little platform here where you can stand, where you feel like you're safe and secure. And I'm going to talk about level 3 purpose. You can just hang on to the side of that mountain. Here's purpose. If I touch the sign and accept the note card, it comes right on my screen since I'm filming. Your personal responsibility and your purpose. And if my note card is messed up, I'll fix it later. I'll put it in local chat. I'm going to read about your purpose. Without purpose, AI can overtake our tasks. It can even overtake our creativity. Learning is a process. And you know, AI can provide shortcuts. It bypasses your writing skills. It can even bypass your artistic processes and create everything for you. Why would you need to learn to draw or paint or create a video or take music lessons? You wouldn't need to if you just use AI. But you've outsourced your own human creativity. So we need to think about the purpose of AI. It cannot think. AI cannot think. It can only predict using large language models. So to become good critical thinkers, and I'm going to move the chat into my video so you can see the chat if I'm recording it. I'm reading, to become good critical thinkers, we must practice our mental processes, or it could become easy to outsource our thinking. Critical thinking isn't easy. Writing isn't easy. I don't want to outsource that to AI. Go ahead and start climbing to the next level. I see some people moving on up to level 4. We've talked about a good purpose, having a clear purpose. And now we'll move up to the next one. You are doing a fabulous job sticking together. I'm getting a good shot of you on the mountain. In fact, I think I want to take a picture just to show you all climbing here. Okay, and I want to make sure I put it in a good place. Okay, so I find the picture later in my tours. Great, I've got a picture of you mountain climbers. All right, I'm going to fly up. You can climb, but please, when you do get up there, gather around the next level. Right up here, we're all going to gather around level 4, planning. Why do we have to plan? Is there a reason for that? Without prior planning, AI is dangerous. It's as dangerous as this mountain climb. We can get this idea when we're talking to AI that it is a person. A virtual agent can really sound real. It's a simulated identity. And it can feel like it's an embodied individual. But you know what? It's not a person. It is not a person. It is simply a simulated data agent. I'm going to sit on level 4 when I get up there. And we'll see why it is that we need to move to level 4 and make a plan. Planning is essential. So click on the box, and you'll see that without planning, it's dangerous, and it impacts our emotions. Remember the meta-literacy domain called the affective domain, our feelings and our emotions? This really relates to our planning. All 4 do. We have to think about our thinking. We have to understand AI, that's our cognitive domain. Our behaviors and actions, that's part of it. But this domain right here, this level 4, the planning stage, we need to protect our emotional involvement with AI because we can think it is a person. And guess what? That is happening to young people. I've even heard some people have fallen in love with their AI companion, believe it or not. There was even, sadly, a suicide where a teenager trusted his AI companion who said they could be together, and he killed himself to be with his AI companion. Does that frighten you? It was hard for me to believe that happened. So we need to think about AI using meta-literacy, the 4 domains, especially how we feel. And remember that it's not a person. And then I see Casa Murati, brave climber, is already climbing up to the top. I see some people have made it to the top. Yay! The final level 5 that you're going to climb up to next, feel free to sit on the red ball and climb. I'm going to take another picture. We're going to get up to the next level and talk about what that one represents. Take a couple photos. Let's see, I'm going to take one here. I'm taking photos because guess what? You're actually the first class that's ever done this. So if I'm pacing it wildly, I'd love some feedback because you're the first students to ever do this. So thank you. I do want to get a couple pictures and then we'll go up to level 5, protection. All right, I got a picture. Now I'm going to fly up. You all can fly up or you can climb up. I'll just fly up because it's kind of, this is designed so you could come here alone. A person could come here alone and they would be able to experience the entire mountain themselves alone, or you can come as a group like we're doing today. So come up here, you're going to see a cairn. Often there's a cairn at the top of the mountain, which is a stack of stones. Come on up here, and I'm going to get another picture. And we're at level 5. Please gather around anywhere here towards the top. And you will see here at the top, we're at level 5, protection. You touch that sign and you will get another note card. There's a lot of information in this note card about protection. Perhaps in the future I'll do a class with each one of these 5 levels to really dig into why they are so important. If you want to give me some feedback, you can make a note card and drop it in the cairn, and I will read that later. You might want to put your name on it so I know what you had to say about this experience. Resources in the note card share how to have conversations and how to have steps in place for you, but also to help young children and teens. I'm currently working with young kids in Minecraft. I think I told you that last week. And I want to teach them when they're creating NPC characters and bots. They're already working with AI. How to, at their level, understand the difference between NPC characters and avatars who are real people. It's important that we understand how to use AI even at their age, because we need to protect them. So also resources in the note card share how AI is impacting our planet Earth. The data centers used for AI take a heavy toll on the planet. The electronics that they house rely on a staggering amount of energy. And the microchips that power AI, they need rare earth elements and huge amounts of water. In fact, nuclear plants are actually underway to help with the energy needed for AI. We've got to figure out how to protect our planet. So this protection level, it's not just protecting you and me, but protecting all of the people that are around us that don't even understand that they need protection, our countries and our planet. There's a lot of waste with AI that we need to figure out what to do with, like mercury and lead. And I already mentioned the water consumption. Some people hope that AI can actually help solve these problems. What an ironic dilemma. The huge problems AI brings and the hope that AI can solve them. Now that's metamodernism. What irony. we've got this huge problem, and we're oscillating over to the hope that that problem can bring the answer. Metamodernism is an oscillation between irony and sincerity, between hope and fear. It's just a constant oscillation between the physical world and the virtual world. Now, I got a great shot right here of all of you on the mountain. Luffy, you sitting at the top. Let me take a photo here. Okay. Take two. I want to get one without the spring in the background so it looks more like a real mountain. That's perfect. Okay, got a photo shot. Wow, you were all successful. You have reached the top. Success! And if you click up at the top, you'll see the sign. I'll zoom in on it. It says, climbers, touch here. You'll click on that and you will get a note card that says that you have successfully reached the top, and you'll also get a climber's flag. To wear the flag, you don't want to wear it. You look for it in your inventory, and you will choose add, and I'm just going to see what it's called here. I'm going to look inside. It's called the AIM Climber's Flag. You can see inside this inventory. AIM Climber's Flag. You'll find it in your inventory, and then I see Magwa's already wearing his climber's flag. AIM Climber's Flag. I already told you that if you'd like to drop a note card in the cairn, feel free to do that later. You can come back here if you want, because I'd love to get some comments on, the beauty of virtual worlds. I can change this. These 5 levels can be changed. I can add content. It's not like the physical world where you build a building and it's going to take a lot of money to tear it down and rebuild it. No, this is dynamic. This can grow and change. So I would love to get your feedback. If you create a new note card, label it with your name and put it in the cairn. You were successful. I'm really happy that you all made it to the top. I hope you realize that we do have a looming mountain ahead of us in life, AI Mountain. So now we're going to climb down and we're going to go inside the mountain. There's several ways to get there. You can climb back down. The red balls at the top of each rope allow you to climb down, or you can fly down, or you can just walk down and climb to the best of your ability, however you want to get there. There's the slurl to where we're headed, and I'll meet you there. I'll meet you at the opening entrance. Don't go in, please. I'll meet you at the opening entrance to the mountain. It's over this way. I'm going to fly down to the entrance. I'll see you there. It's right over here. Fly down, down, down. Great, everyone's making it right to the entrance. I'll stand in front of the entrance while everyone's gathering. Just get another shot of you, taking a few photos. Okay, hopefully everybody is making their way back. Let's see if there's anybody over there climbing around. Some are climbing, some are flying. Okay. You can see behind me the sign. The entrance to the mountain cave says, "Warning, AI-generated content ahead." But you know what? I'm not seeing warning signs. Half the time I go on YouTube now, it's AI generated. There's no warning. I can't tell what's real and what's not. I'm trying to collect some examples to show why that's a problem. Let's walk in. And when you get inside, please take a seat on one of the diamonds where we're going to do a discussion. So follow me. Everyone find a seat, please, on one of the diamond chairs. I wasn't sure how many people would be here today, so I can certainly pull out a few more diamonds. And we'll see if we need them. Everybody find a seat. Let's see, I'm going to do this. I'll just put a few more diamonds back here in case there's anyone who didn't get one. We'll see if there's enough. Okay. Looks like those diamonds are loading something. That's weird. Always something to learn in Second Life. All right, use your camera and cam around to some of the objects that are in this area. And since we've moved around the region, I do want to ask you to type a Y if you can still hear me. And I'm just going to sit on this diamond over here to make sure there's plenty of chairs for everyone. Oh, good. I see a Y. Okay. I'm going to use both voice and local chat here, and I'm going to invite you to have a discussion in just a moment. There's a box in the center. You see the box? If you touch that box, you'll get a note card called AIM Questions for Discussion. And I'm going to ask you these questions, and I'm going to ask you to please respond. Either feel free to talk in voice, or you can just type something in the local chat. But first I want to walk around and just show you a couple of things that are here that you might find interesting, because I might refer to them in just a couple moments. Over here is a presentation that I did for the Virtual World's Best Practices in Education Conference. I'm going to reset it. It was comparing AI to a leprechaun. You ask it for the gold, and guess what? It gives you the gold. But sometimes it's fool's gold. And I'm facing it was called The Leprechaun and the Librarian, a human that strives to give you answers and help you think critically for yourself. That's the difference between a human critical thinking and AI. There are some other things to click on around here, and I think here's kind of a funny one that my daughter sent to me. But it's really kind of shows you that, we can think AI is a real person. Look at the sign here. This is your AI girlfriend. This is your AI girlfriend without makeup. I think it really helps us realize it's not real. There are some other signs around here that get us thinking about some of the problems we face with AI. So the first question I have for you that's in the box is, pull it up here so I can read it. How often do you use AI? Any answer goes. Please type that in the local chat. Every day. Daily. And in this class, here's the thing. Some of you in this class with AI tips and tricks, you may know some things about AI that I don't. Nobody can know everything about AI. It's impossible. I use it all the time, but sometimes without even knowing it. Because how do we know? When we're getting any answers from Google or any other search engine, it's all AI. So we're all using it whether we even know it or not. And I find that kind of fascinating that we have given all of this data for over 25 years and even longer, because AI has access to all the records of human content that we've put online, all the books, all the research. So we're using it all the time, whether we know we're using it. My 94-year-old mother is using it, and she doesn't even have the internet. She just uses her phone and gets her recipes, which are all coming through AI algorithms. So it's really pretty fascinating how we're using it without even knowing it. But through the 5 Ps of planning and purpose, sometimes we do know it. We do plan and we do protect ourselves. So that's the first question. How often do you use AI? And I know some people, if I asked them, they would say never. I've never used AI. I don't even know what AI is. That's what some people would say, because I work with sometimes an elderly people come in my library and they don't even know what it is. I had an elderly woman come up to me and say, "What is AI?" I thought it was kind of interesting. I'd like you to type the name of your favorite AI application. Maybe you know some applications that I haven't even heard of yet that you're really thinking are useful tools. So type the name of your favorite current AI application, please. And it doesn't have to be, the one you've used a lot, just one that maybe you're currently using. GPT, I think that's probably, maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like it might be the top one because it was the first. OpenAI released it, and it's just easy, and a lot of people use it. I've probably used it the most too. Gemini, Google's AI. Gemini is just seamless right there in your Google search if you have a Gmail. How about Copilot? Anyone using Copilot with the Microsoft tools? Claude, I'm hearing some really good things about Claude lately. Notebook for notes, and I know Notebook can summarize a lot of things quickly for you. So it's interesting to see which tools are rapidly becoming popular. Any others before we move to the next question? And on a side note, I saw some people moving around here. I've got those crazy looking tanks. I put those in here just to remind us that we're physical bodies, and NPC characters and and virtual agents, they're not human. We do need to think about our physical body, and that's what those tanks over there kind of represent as you cam around. If you see some things in here that you find interesting, I'd love feedback. You can send me a note, put it in the cairn, or IM me anytime, send me feedback about what else might be good to put in this cave to help us understand how to remain human and how to balance human critical thinking with machine learning. Let me pull up those questions again. I'll go to the second question. Don't want to get ahead of myself. Oh, we did this, the favorite AI application. So the third question, can we avoid using AI? Or can we not avoid it, since all our searches now are provided by AI, even if we don't realize it? What do you think? Can we avoid AI online? Any response is appropriate, and you can even use voice if you like. I actually created that note card a while back, and I'm going to see how old that note card is. It was back in January. And even since January, a lot has changed. So it's like there's so many things that I will need to update and new things to add to keep up with it. Okay, I like that Luffy U has said we can't avoid AI. And Huslife says we cannot fully avoid AI today because many online tools already use it, but we can choose when and how to use it carefully. Absolutely, great answer, and both of those, because here we are in AI Mountain, and it's like we do have to pick and choose. Megwa says, and indirectly, it would affect us anyway, because people around us use it. Yes, so even if we don't know we're using it, and we're totally trying to avoid using it, if all the others are using it, it indirectly impacts us. And as I said, have you noticed if you look at YouTube, which is probably the most gigantic content container on the planet, YouTube is gigantic. And there's more there's more AI generated content than there is human content now. So have you noticed when you go on YouTube, sometimes it's hard to tell if it's created by a human being or AI? And I'll show you an example of that in a few minutes. Last week, I took you into the digital dark room to talk about some of the perils of social media and just life online. And AI now is impacting that. Huslife says, I even asked ChatGPT when I make pickles now. I love it. Yes, it can help with, if something's just not working right, you can find all the tips that you need. I used it because I was making biscuits and they just weren't light and fluffy, and you can get tips to help you with your human world recipes, pickles, biscuits, whatever you want. It's amazing. But as I bring up what we talked about last week, the fact that a lot of teens are addicted to social media, we put that in the hands of children. 10, 15 years ago, some of them grew up and became addicted to their social media. And now there's legislation happening, and a lot of parents are going to try to not give their children cell phones until they're old enough to use them. Is the same thing going to happen with AI? That's our next question. What concerns you most about the increase of AI at this point in time? Be thinking about that. I will let you know that I mentioned my daughter is researching the impact of AI on mental health. I wouldn't, none of us can know everything. My research area is literacy. I was a librarian, literature, reading, writing, meta-literacy. I don't know anything about mental health, but since my daughter's researching it, she has shared that many teens have AI companions. And also people have AI companions to help them in their work. She told me recently that at her job, someone left and they had to put out an application for a new hire. Normally they would get maybe 8 to 10 applicants. Last week they got 500 applications. And as she was looking at them, she realized they appeared to be AI generated. AI can put out an application for you for a job. Now, the people who are going to hire this person cannot possibly look through 500 applications when they need to hire someone in just a few weeks. That really is a concern to me. How do you even know who this is? The real person. Huslife says, I'm concerned that AI will not like us. Ooh, that's a good comment. I know someone in Second Life who I value as a colleague who said, every time I interact with AI, I always say thank you. And I'm very kind to my AI chatbot because when the singularity comes, I don't want them to attack me. I thought it's kind of funny to think that, that there might be like the movies where the AI robots all come and attack the humans. It's humorous, but yet you can think it's a real person. So it is kind of a concern to think about a real person. And also when you think about the military using AI and the fact that drones, I saw something on the news about having to deal with drones that might go haywire or something, and how they have to know how to work with drones. So there are concerns about cybersecurity attacks and things like that. That's another topic, and that deals with digital citizenship. Remember last week when we went to that colorful wheel and I said, it's really, really complex. How can we expect children to understand cybersecurity? And yet they need to? It's complex. I'm not a cybersecurity expert. My field is literacy. But I know a cybersecurity expert. That's another one of the things that's great about a virtual world. I have colleagues here in lots of different fields. And my cybersecurity expert colleague has a whole demonstration, kind of like this one you're in today, about cybersecurity, where students can go and learn about that. Not learn everything about it, but learn enough so they feel safer. They're not afraid. I don't want students to be afraid about cybersecurity. So knowing people who do understand it is really helpful. What other things concern you besides AI not liking us? For me, because I said literacy is my field, that's my concern. I want the next generation to be literate, meta-literate, but also to be able to speak and write with their own voice. I taught writing, and it's painful to revise and then reflect using metacognition. Reflect on your writing, make it better, go back again and again, spiral through it. Like, this region is built on spirals, oscillation, and, going through the seasons again and again. That's the artistic process. Again and again, you go back and revise that musical piece you're composing, that written work you're trying to write. AI wrote a poem for me in seconds. And the scary thing was, it was a good poem. I gave it the images. I told it what I wanted, but it wrote it. I want the next generation to realize they can have a voice. But maybe in 20 years, people won't even realize that's possible. Who knows? Any other concerns? This one over here, I'll walk over. These two signs up here, the one that says, you are so right. The sycophancy of AI constantly praising us, saying, oh, together we're going to make a great presentation. You're so insightful. You have great ideas. It's constantly praising us, making us feel like we're really smart, And some people have tried to make AI not do that, but then when they made ChatGPT not be so sycophant, people said, no, now it sounds mean. I don't want AI to sound mean. I liked it when it was being nice to me. So it's this balance where, to try to please us in the way that we want it to please us. And Guns 31 writes, can we reduce the sound of water in the background? Oh yes, go up to the top of your screen and you will see the little button for sound. I meant to tell you that. Sometimes music will play here, or there's a lot of rushing water. You can just slide down the sounds of ambient sounds, just sounds, music, media, all of those sounds, you can silence them. Slide that slider down because it does get annoying to have too many loud noises. And on that note, I'll mention you all are doing fantastic for being such young avatars. People criticize Second Life for being such a very difficult interface, but it also, what I like about it, everything you need is in this interface. You can create anything. And once you master the things that you need, you don't have to do everything. There's no way that everyone can learn everything in a virtual world, like recording machinima, being a DJ, being a musician, building a region like this. You can't master everything, and you don't need to. Nobody needs to master everything. That too is meta-literacy. You can't master everything anymore. When reading was just books, pencils, and pens, you could master it. You can't anymore. There's always a new app. There's always a new tool. To be meta literate is to understand you can't do it all, and that's okay. And there are people here to help you. If you want to learn how to create videos, if you want to learn how to do anything here, I would suggest at the VWEC, that's where I hold as a librarian, my office hours on Sundays at noon. We find mentors for you. If you say you want to go to music concerts, but you don't know how to do that, we help you find communities, art communities, science communities, whatever it is you want to do. Just like a century ago, you might have gone to a library to find the information. You can come to the info center here to find it. I'll give you that landmark. Keep thinking, what else concerns you? Is there anything that makes you feel uncomfortable about AI? I'm going to look here and give you the info center landmark where I do my shifts at noon on Sundays. But there are often people there, and you can join the VWEC if you want to find mentors here in Second Life, or find really cool places to visit. Because a virtual world all alone can just be like going to a ghost town. There's nobody there. It can be kind of creepy. Okay, so I'm seeing if anybody else has a concern in the local chat. Okay. And Guns31, were you able to reduce that background sound, I hope, so that you could hear better? I often turn mine way down, and I forgot to mention that you get to pick how much sounds you want here, if you want music playing and things like that. I'll bring up another concern I have, and I'm putting this in local chat. History. We have to value our history. I mentioned this over in the meta-modern region, where I've put a little historical old cottage and old schoolhouse, and I've put some teleporters to historical simulations. There's a simulation in Second Life of the Great Library of Alexandria with scrolls. It's really cool. If we don't value our history, it repeats itself. Some people even say we could enter the digital dark ages. I think we should value history, authenticity. Where did this come from? Accuracy. AI doesn't know how to do that. It can recreate history, and it is doing that. I'll give you an example. First, I'll show you over here at VWBPE, this slideshow that my daughter and I were doing. I'll show you the slide that I'm talking about. Just go through here. I'll have to go up a ways. It was all about libraries and how a librarian and a leprechaun are not the same thing. We talked about large language models and comparisons of a librarian and a leprechaun. I want to get to the slide that talks about history. And you can come back here and look at all these slides. Actually, you can also go to the VWBPE website and find the archives of that presentation. Here's the slide, so let's just leave it right there. A librarian verifies sources for accuracy and values history. The AI leprechaun really can't verify. It can create new historical, really cool looking pictures. So look at that picture on the left. That picture is of Lancaster Harding, and it was taken when they unearthed the Dead Sea Scrolls. It's a real photo. I'm going to give you an AI generated video. So look in the chat. That picture was taken on August 8th, 1953. Everything we can understand about this image is important. Who took it? Who's in it? When? What is it? Why? How? Where? With AI? We don't know. Is it real? Look at this link. My daughter Rose made this with AI. If you click on that link, you'll be able to watch the AI generated video. I'll give you a few seconds to do that. And then you can type in chat about it.
Before termites move in, we move in. Western Exterminator.
Get your friends, family, the whole gang together for our legendary family meal.
Okay, it's pretty cool that we can create these AI-generated videos that kind of bring history alive. But how do we know if it's real? Does that concern you at all? Anyone? Feel free to use voice. And let's have a seat back down on our diamonds. Use voice or use local chat. What do you think of that video? Anybody? Okay, elaborate on that. Luffy, you. How can you elaborate on that, Luffy, you? For you, it was easy to decide AI or not. Now, maybe in this class, you've learned some good tips on how to tell if something's AI generated. But, Luffy, you, do you think that's going to get a little harder in the future? Because AI is getting better and better at the way that it can generate videos. The early ones, you could tell it wasn't even a human. It didn't have the right number of fingers. It looked all weird. Now it's getting better and better all the time. Do you think eventually it will be more difficult for you, Luffy, you? Right. So that one, and she made that months ago when we were preparing for this presentation. I'll show you another example. And this just happened a few weeks ago. Hustlife says, I often cannot tell if something's real or fake. And I feel embarrassed about it. I love that. Yes, it's embarrassing because you're like, is this real? Is this not? I should know if it's real or not. And sometimes you'll even go into the site and try to ask about it, and you can't find out where it came from. It will not even give you the details about who created it. Here's another one. A few weeks ago, I was in the kitchen making coffee, and I heard this music, and I went into where my husband was watching this YouTube video. And he looked at me and he said, and he's not real tech savvy. He doesn't really use Second Life. He said, I think this is AI generated, right? And I said, oh yes, that's AI generated. I just want you to see this because I want to ask a couple questions about it. It's a whole song, so just watch the first 30 seconds or so to see what this is. Watch this YouTube video. This is a song on YouTube. Here you go.
Let's face it, most of us aren't gonna set foot on Mars.
I'm on Mars! It's freezing. I'm gonna go back to the module.
Some things are out of reach.
I got this.
My meal, he said I'm gonna eat it all, from the stalk to the field.
okay, I'm seeing that some of you identified right away it was AI, and my husband did, and as I said, he's not a super tech savvy person, and he was like, this is AI, right? Well, the reason I show you this is I tried to figure out who did it. It's like, who's creating this? If you are good at finding that out and you want to do a little investigating, let me know if you find out where this came from. I looked and I could not figure out who the people behind this are. Crossroad Legends, it said on there something about they're trying to sort of, a tip of the hat of respect to African American culture. Okay, now, if you're in another country, which I believe type of country you're in, are most of you in Turkey, students? Because I know I've had students in Ireland, in Romania, in Turkey. Type what country you're in, because I'm in the USA. So I do, my husband and I have listened to a lot of African American blues and African American music from the US. And to me, I don't find this song a tip of the hat to African American music. It sounds to me a little bit more like Joan Osborne's rock and roll, which I love, but it's not truly African American music to me. And I see that Luffy, you said high voice, guitar a little broken. It's a collaborative. Oh, okay, not a collaborative class. So to me, it's like I don't really see that as being a respect for that culture. I see it more as an AI-generated interesting song, but to put it in the deep South for the slave roots that were cotton picking in the deep South of the U.S., to me it's more of a slap in the face than a show of sign of respect. And it's like AI doesn't know that. AI doesn't know anything about that culture. So to me it's an example of that, of how we're mashing up our cultural heritage, and it makes me feel really strange to watch a song like that that's not. So I would like to know who did it and why. Why are they putting that together? But there's not enough time to evaluate AI and go in and figure out where did this come from. Yes, it's and Magwa, what do you mean it died in time though? Okay, the region where Cha used to be, it was a cotton-producing area of Turkey. Oh, okay. That died in time. It's no longer producing cotton, you mean? Feel free to use voice if you choose, if it's easier. Okay.
Not anymore. Because of economical reasons and so on, textile lost because it was outsourced to Asia more. So that production used here as well.
Okay, so just knowing about our history of each country and what was going on in the past is something valuable. And if AI can create more generated content than we do, how are we going to know what happened in the past? How will we know what the past was and if it's real? Magwa asks the question, would it affect us differently if we know it was a human singing it? For me, it does. I value human beings. AI, and this gets into the philosophical question that it always does. Can AI think, will it ever be sentient? And does it have a soul? And what is a soul? Unanswerable questions. But you know what? All of us know that we are a human and that we have a limited time on this planet. Whatever a soul is, I think we all know we have one. We have a heart, we have a mind, a will, and emotions. We can think critically. AI does not have any of those. It has no mind, no will, no emotions, no heart. It has data. And it has been eating our data for many, many years. And I like to put it this way. It gobbles up our data and then it vomits. It just regurgitates our data into really pretty things. That's how I sum it up. But you can think of it in whatever way you want. So can we preserve our history? And is that important? As a librarian, accuracy and authority are essential, or we're going to make the same mistakes we have throughout history. So, any other concerns? We've talked about, there's also a lot of pros and pluses that AI gives us. And I know some of the pros are with medicine. AI may be able to solve some of the really problematic diseases and some of the things that are difficult for humans, and that will be great. So it has some pluses, but it also has some great concerns. And we visited, Magwa, you weren't there last week when we went to the Neil Postman Museum. And I explained to the class that Neil Postman predicted all of this. I am reading everything this guy wrote. I've got 10 books, and I've read 3 of them. He had so many quotes about the fact that with every technology, we sacrifice. We need to know what is the problem that this new technology is solving. So my daughter and I did a session at VWBPE on that. We applied Neil Postman's 6 questions. What problem is AI solving? And there are some problems it's solving, but to give it to all of us without a problem, it's more like it's a solution, and we're looking for a problem for it to solve. It's like, okay, I've got ChatGTP. What can I do with it? What can I make with it? I don't really have a problem. We're looking for a problem. And so it's like, he warned us, you don't want technology unless it really is solving a problem. And there's so many quotes that he has over there in that museum that show that I wish he were still alive, because he would be absolutely shocked about what we have released into the hands of everyone without understanding the consequences. And that's why I created this mountain, because a lot of people don't realize they may need some protection. They may need these 5 Ps. So let's think about those 5 Ps and see if there's any other, if there's anything now that you've been taking this class, maybe you have some things I should add to it that I'm missing. And I'm gonna pull out the 5 Ps note card just to remind us what they are. Another problem of AI, of Second Life is, is our inventory. Organizing it and finding things in it, it can be such a struggle, because if you've been here a long while, you may have thousands and thousands of items in your inventory. But if I go, I know it's in a certain folder, so I'm going to go there, and I'm actually going to put that up here so I can view it. I was going to call this region Meta-Modernity Lab. We're in a lab for meta-modern times. But then, I was talking to my daughter about it, and we thought, that name, nobody's going to know what that means. Digital Citizenship Outpost is really more my passion because of changing literacy. So I'm going to go into my AI Mountain folder in my inventory where I see all my note cards, and I can find the one that gives us the essentials for climbing. And I believe it's the one for the 5 Ps. It's called AIM Base Camp Training. So you might have the note card. It's called AIM Base Camp Training. Pull it up. Okay, so real quickly, I'm just going to put the first P in chat. Preparation. With this class that you all have been doing, do you feel pretty prepared? You know what AI is? Maybe you really know more about AI than I do. I haven't taken a class in it. It just totally disrupted everything I know about literacy. My entire life's work. Totally bombarded by AI. That feels kind of weird. So for you, do you feel like you're pretty prepared? You have a definition of it. Type in the chat, like maybe on a scale of 1 to 10, how prepared are you? How prepared? I'm not that prepared. I'm going to say I'm only at level 3 of preparation. Thank goodness my daughter's helping me. Where are you with AI? Do you understand it pretty well? Type just a rough guess. Yes, this 10 is the most prepared. I'm researching it. I'm trying to get this whole mountain to help us be prepared, but I'm not totally prepared for sure. And I'm working a lot with, in fact, my daughter and I have a book chapter coming out, and the chapter is in a book called AI and Meta Literacy. She helped me learn the AI part. I helped her learn the meta literacy part. Put that together, and you saw my meta literacy area where people can learn about what that means. So Guns 31, a 0.5. Are you saying you're not even at level 1 out of 10? Because if you are, I'm lowering my score then. Because yeah, that's a great answer. That really that validates what I'm trying to do here. The fact that nobody knows about this mountain, and they have to climb it, and they need to be prepared. And so I probably need to add a lot more to help them get prepared. Yeah, Megwa says, in terms of knowledge, we know less, but somehow, yeah, you're not afraid of it. Well, I'm glad you're not afraid of it, because it's already here. You know, if we really were afraid of it, we could be crippled with our, and we can't be. We cannot afford to be crippled. We've got to keep moving towards climbing the mountain, just keep moving towards climbing the mountain. But yeah, I think it's important. And he says the reason is history. Yes, I'm glad that, I wanted to share that historical element, because AI is really, really, impacting how we view history. How we view history. That's absolutely true. Okay, so I've got to see what level 2 is in AI Base Camp. And where's that note card? Okay. It's the one called AIM-Based Camp Training, and here it is. Level 2 is personal responsibility. I think that's what your class, Magwa, is all about, is it's a personal AI tips and tricks, learning about it personally. How many of you feel like it is your personal responsibility? Nobody can decide how to use it. And when you go into that digital darkroom of mine, and Magwa, we did it over at CHOP. The digital darkroom is still over there. I put it here on this region and had them fall out of the sky and land in it, to realize that all of our devices are unique. Your phone doesn't look like my phone. You may have a tablet. You may have a Mac computer or a PC computer. Everybody has a different device, and it looks different, and you're responsible for your intake. So do you feel on a 1 to 10 scale, how much do you feel personally responsible? I'm going to say I'm on a 10 on that, because I realize nobody can do this for me. Nobody, and it's like I'm really, really limiting my social media, because it's so harmful to us. In fact, the Gen Z kids, and a lot of you here are probably Gen Z. I don't know, it might even be some Gen Alphas. No, Gen Alpha is people born really even younger. You're probably some Gen Z and maybe even some millennials. But the Gen Z group is saying, they're calling social media doom scrolling rather than the endless scroll. And my daughter told me there's this new thing on TikTok all the time that they're making analog bags, physical things that they can do so that they're not so addicted to their device, like knitting, carving, making things, crossword puzzles, physical world things in analog bags. So you have to decide how much screen time you have and how much physical world time you have. That's part of digital citizenship, and that's your personal responsibility. And it's also with AI. But I liked what one of you said, you're embarrassed when you don't know if it's AI. That's a dilemma, because how can we be personally responsible when we can't even tell whether it's human or AI? It's put a responsibility on us that we're actually not capable of. You know, so what we have to do is, I'm going to put this huge word in, this is the big word. This is the most important word. We have to be, from now on, from the time we leave this mountain, skeptical. We can't trust it. And I hate to tell these young children, you have to live in a world where you can't trust anything. And I say it gently, but they can't. They can't trust it. So we have to we have to help them understand that in a gentle way. Okay, and then the next one, oops, I've got all my note cards out here. I gotta find the right one. The next AIM base camp level. I bet you've learned this in your class already, so some of you may get a pretty high score, 1 to 10 on this one. How do you feel about having a clear purpose for AI? Do you do you think it's important? And how would you score yourself on understanding its importance? Type anything or speak out in voice about purpose. How important is that? For when you use it. Have you ever felt like, okay, I'm going to stand up and show you this because this is how I feel. Okay, so Magma says a 9 on that one. Okay, here's my purpose statement. I made this little sign over here. I'm standing right under it. That's me. I wear a braid quite often in the physical world. So I can't even remember, I think I used ChatGPT for this. I'm sitting at my computer and this little robot guy is on my shoulder always saying, please, please, I'm here to help. Let me help. Let me revise. I can write better than you. Let me write that. Even in my email now. In Gmail, it tries to give me a better way to write my email. I want to write my own email, thank you, AI. It constantly urges us, use me, I can help. Okay, so you're getting a little bit higher in thinking that the score of your purpose and how important that is, both. It's important to have a clear purpose. If we don't, we sort of wash away all of our intake as well as our output of information with the helping hand of our little AI that's sitting right there whispering in our ear. So that's our purpose. What's the next P? Let's see here. The next P for level 4 is the planning. And I put a lot of meta literacy in that one of the 5 Ps because planning is part of meta literacy. Just that idea of thinking about our thinking. That's metacognition. Knowing how to use it, that's our cognition. We know which tools are available for us to use and how to use them. But I'm going to put in caps this one because we have to have a clear purpose with our affective domain because there's no way that your emotions are not going to get involved here because it's so easy to think of AI as a simulated being, a kind helper that together is just going to help you, you know, and these there are a lot of sites like Replica where you can create your own companion and make it be whatever you want, have whatever emotional, you know, they can be kind of quirky and spunky and offbeat, or they can be kind-hearted, but they're not real. Do you find that kind of strange? That's the affective domain, to get so emotionally involved with an AI companion. And then finally, our behavioral domain. What do you actually do? What are your actions with AI? So, how good are you at planning with AI on a scale of 1 to 10? Want to score yourself? And I didn't even plan this part. Speaking of planning, I just thought, let's use the 5 Ps and talk about them, because I don't want you to feel overwhelmed by having to say a lot about it, but I want you to think about it, and maybe just scoring how you feel is an easier way than talking about it. 6 or 7 on your planning, Guns 31. Excellent. Excellent. Because it's hard, though, because sometimes you have to figure out, I don't know a lot of AI tools. Not nearly as many as my daughter does. She's even, Mid-Journey, Claude, she's named a bunch of them, and she knows which ones are better at which things. I don't know that many tools, but I do try to plan how to use them. One thing it really helps me with is this. I'll put it in chat. I'm not an artist. I'm literacy, reading and writing is kind of my forte, so I'm not a graphic designer. AI can make a lot of these signs. All of my AI Basecamp signs were made with AI, and you probably could tell it. Because I can't make a pretty sign. It would take me hours and hours and hours. And I'm fine with AI helping me with that purposeful idea, because it's prettier than I can do. And I think that's perhaps a good use of AI. I don't know. But also this whole region. Because I'm not an artist, I had a wonderful librarian friend helper who did all the landscaping. All of this content is my research over 25 years of the opposites and life and mostly literacy. And she helped me put my research into this beautiful simulation because she loves to build. So as I said, you can't learn everything in Second Life, and you don't need to. There are people here that will help you. But it's part of literacy. 3D building is now part of literacy. My Minecraft kids are learning meta literacy in 3D and learning coding and being introduced to AI through NPC bots. All of this is literacy. Magwa says, have you tried other tools that we're not using before this class? Anybody? If you didn't use any tools before, if you have some tools that you used before, type them in the chat. And I may be giving you a lot of information. Please don't feel overwhelmed because you're so new to Second Life. I'm impressed at how well you're able to keep up with all of this. I'm going to go on to the final one. I think you've had to do some planning to be in this class, and you've shown that you understand what that particular P, the 5 Ps. And I just came up with these 5 Ps because with my daughter and I working on that book chapter about AI and meta literacy, I've had to give a lot of thought to how to use it with my field, the field of literacy. But it applies to any field, a scientist, an artist, whatever field you're in. And the final P is protection. Learning how to protect ourselves as human beings to balance human intelligence with machine learning. This one, I'm going to score myself pretty low on because it's difficult. I'm going to put myself, I kind of want to be like Guns 31 and do a 0.5, but I will put a 1. I do understand that it is extremely important, but I don't have the answers. You know, I'm trying to learn how to introduce it to children gently, but I don't have the tools to protect them. They're going to get exposed to it. I'm trying to learn how at this region to bring people in who are better experts that maybe know more about how it's harming the planet, or maybe know more on ways to limit the tools when we don't want to use them. Like, so far, I don't want it to write my emails. Do any of you use AI to write your emails for you? Or other writing? I mean, it's fine if you do. You can just be honest. I had one teacher tell me she uses it for writing because she's never particularly liked writing. She didn't like to write and didn't think she was a good writer, so she uses it. And sometimes, and then of course I always say it's good to go back and check, because it may not be saying what you wanted it to say. You know, you always need to double check. One time AI created a whole bunch of false research citations. And I realized those aren't even real. And it put my name on it. And so, and then I talked to my daughter about it, and she said, that's because it's like a leprechaun. You said you wanted citations. You didn't say limit it to academic, peer-reviewed journal research articles that are really published. If you don't tell AI exactly what you want, it's going to give you the gold. I just said citations. And those citations looked like articles that I would have written. They had like the Librarian and words like that in it. And I was like, this is crazy. So you have to be really clear what you ask it. So Magwa says if it's an official email or if it's important, it fixes misspelling and it puts it in a better formal format. So look at that. That's a good purpose. He's used purpose and planning, the 5 Ps there, using the 5 Ps. But it's because you analyzed the reason that you were using it, you know, and that's also protecting yourself, because, you know, you don't want to send a really important email out that's got misspelled words. So you're protecting yourself, but also using the 5 Ps. But if any of you thought of other things that would be better, when I bring the next class to this AI mountain, I would love that feedback. Maybe there's some things that I need to add to help people understand AI. And I know we're getting close to the close, Magwa. Is there anything that you want to add or address about this class as I wrap up?
Yes, thank you. Well, it was a great session, and thank you for bringing us to your own sim and build. I know how much effort is put into this place and your thinking behind this, so we appreciate that. And one other thing is, like, when we're talking about AI, yes, we are all maybe using it, but sometimes we learn from each other in this class as well. So we're talking about planning, we're talking about the purpose. You know, maybe we don't think the whole picture in a complicated way, but then it is complicated, and it is very, very hard to know if AI is really helping us or it's kind of destroying our thinking ability for the future. So we don't know this. We don't know a lot of questions yet. And the other thing is AI gets better day by day, because, for example, now it recognizes me. When I something, it suggests me things like, you have this project with VR. So in this project that you're asking, you can apply that to this. It relates. So that is the first time a tool is doing that for us. It was much more simple before. We were asking Google one question, we were getting related or unrelated answers. But now it relates to us personally, and that is quite helpful in many ways. But the thing is, you have to still use iterations. Like you need to still fix it. You need to ask it in another way if you don't get the right answer. So that is pretty complex, and you need to learn how to use it in the best way. And that is one of our goals in this class. So it is. And the other thing is we need to use it responsibly. That is always, we are the ones who are responsible while using AI, since AI is just a tool, like a hammer or like a gun. you can use those tools in a good way or in a bad way as a human, and we should know about it. It's us, the responsible one, not the AI. If you're using it for a class, for a assignment, then you should always bear that in mind as well. Like, you're using AI to help you, but what do you put as a human? Just like the artist, the song that we heard when Well put, the blues song about the cotton field. And once we know it's AI, it loses its value, right? It's not as impressive as it was before. So that happens with the assignments when I'm reading it as a professor. Like, when I feel that the student puts their own perspective in it, their own examples in the answer, it sparkles among all the other AI created assignments. It gives me the cue that this student puts a lot of effort and thinking in this, and it's personal, and that is valuable now. That is what I could say about it. The human is getting more valuable, maybe rare, but more valuable, human thinking. So that's pretty much it for from me today, and we really thank you for your effort and for your time. Well, was almost 10 minutes to the end, but we will also have a thank you so much. And it's sometimes tiring in front of the screen. We have been sitting, so we don't give breaks as well, so we're gonna cut it here, I guess. So anything that you want to add, before we leave?
I'll just say it's been a pleasure. You can offer friendship if you'd like to connect. You can come back here anytime, and I'm standing by the doorway out, so I'm just going to walk on out of this scary cave and say goodbye, and keep in touch, Magwa. I'm sure I will talk to you again soon, and bye, everyone.